When it comes to the prestige classes in this book, or as I like to call them, ways to kill your players faster, you have a lot of options to choose from. First of all, you have the Trolls of Demons and Disciples of Devils, each one swearing fealty to a demon lord or an archduke of hell, granting powers based around the evil power of the prestige class. For example, the disciple of Mephistopheles gets a lot of powers surrounding fire, and even the troll of Juiblex ends up getting all the immunities oozes possess. As for the other prestige classes, you have the Cancer Mage that exudes an aura of all the diseases he carries while being immune to them himself. The Life Drinker, which is basically an overpowered vampire that uses blood points to bolster himself and his spells. The Mortal Hunter, which is an outsider specializing in killing mortal creatures. The Soul Eater, and oh boy, the Soul Eater, he can grant negative levels with a touch an unlimited number of times per day. I have a story about this guy. You have the Vermin Lord, which is basically an evil druid, and the Warrior of Darkness who imbibes oils and elixir to bolster himself permanently. Not a bad one. Last but not least, we have the Urpriest, which is a notoriously known prestige class for granting you 9th level spells by level 15, which is crazy compared to every single other spell casting. What they do is, instead of praying to a god for spells, they steal away at the power of the god to grant themselves spells. Now, what is interesting that I've always found about this prestige class is the picture, because if you look at the Urpriest, he looks very eerily similar to Anton LaVey, who is the founder of the Church of Satan, which makes sense, but then again, it's not helping the whole cause that players that play Dungeons and Dragons are Satanists. But then in turn, Anton LaVey kinda resembles Sean K. Reynolds from the Gamers 2 Darkness Rising. Then off we go to the spell section of the book, and let me tell you, a lot of these spells are very interesting, very flavorful, like the Crushing Fist of Spite, which creates a fist in the air that grabs the person and it's like slams them against the floor, just punches them or throws them up into the air, which is always a fun thing to do against your players. Or if you're a player and the Game Master's allowing this, honestly, a nice substitute for Reverse Gravity. Then we have a new type of spell called Corrupt Spells, and the reason they're corrupt spells is because you have to give something up to use the spell, usually something bad. Besides that, you also have spells with disease components, which means you have to be under a specific disease to be able to do, and spells with drug components, which means you have to be under the effects of a certain drug to use. Kids, don't do drugs. Seriously, they're bad for you. Now, for example, you have Absorbed Mind, which is corrupt level 3, so you need to be able to cast 3rd level spells. The only ones that can cast corrupt spells are actually wizards and clerics. Those that can, prepare spells. Because as a sorcerer, you cannot learn these spells. But, like, the corruption causes 2d6 points of wisdom damage. That can screw you up. And like one's called Absorb Strength, also 2d6 points of wisdom damage. We're eventually gonna get to one that to me is the funniest one. Let's see, more corrupt spells. Where are they? Claws of the Devilith, 1d6 point of dexterity damage. So as you can see, a lot of them is just dealing damage to you. Consume Likeness, you turn into someone else, but that one deals 2d6 points of wisdom drain, which can really screw you up. Let's see, what else do we have here? 1d3 points of wisdom drain, one more, and I'll go to the funny one. Because as you're seeing, these are all spells that they take away your ability scores. 3d6 points of constitution damage. That one can actually kill you if you're not careful. But let's go to the funniest one. It's the 9th level corrupt spell. It's Apocalypse from the Sky in a 10-mile radius, right? Was it 10-mile radius? It's around here. Yeah, 10-mile radius per level, centered on the caster, and you're not immune to it.
Everything in a 10-mile radius per level takes 10d6 points of damage. Everything. Houses, trees, everything. I wish it would say that it ignores hardness, so the houses would actually just be destroyed. And this one has a corruption cost and a material component. Now let me read you the corruption cost first. 3d6 points of constitution damage, 4d6 points of wisdom drain. Just preparing the spell deals 1d3 points of wisdom damage, with another 1d3 points of wisdom damage for each day that it remains among your prepared spells. So you take the damage and you also take 3d6 points of constitution damage and 4d6 points of wisdom drain. So if the damage doesn't kill you, probably the ability scores, the damage to your ability scores will. Now the funny thing about this spell is the material component. An artifact. Yep. Granted, it's not a focus component because focus components don't get destroyed after you use a spell, but material components are consumed when a spell is cast. So that means that spell, I guess, is a good way to destroy an artifact if you ever need to. Just make sure you're really, really far away. I mean, I'm guessing you can find better ways to destroy an artifact. I would rather find the Tarrasque and throw the artifact into his mouth, or find that legendary volcano that consumes everything. I'll take it to the Mounts of Elysium and place it on the anvil so they can break it. All I'm saying is that spell is bananas because you need an artifact to be able to cast it, and then the artifact is consumed. And the book tells you that usually they use good artifacts to be able to do it, because that way, you know, it's one less good artifact in the world. And we're on to the magic items section of the Book of Vile Darkness. Now, the magic items section obviously is filled with a lot of evil, vile, and despicable magic items, which a couple come to mind.
First of all, we have the Angel Killer, which is a sword that forces any celestial strikes to succeed at a fortitude save or die. That's how broken this thing is, because it has unlimited charges. As long as you keep striking a celestial, they have to keep making the save.
And then we have something called the Nipple Clamp of Exquisite Pain. Now, this is a magic item that is fluff rather than crunch, because it gives you no mechanical benefits. It just, every time you feel pain, instead of pain, you feel pleasure. That's what the Nipple Clamp of Exquisite Pain does. And it costs 8,000 gold pieces. So it's a magic item that costs 8,000 gold pieces that doesn't really do anything except give you a role-playing reason to enjoy pain. Then of course there's a couple of minor artifacts that are very interesting. For example, the Ring of the Dread Emperor, which if you at least kill 10th level or higher humanoid every single day, it removes all the penalties that your armor might give you, like armor check penalty or arcane spell failure chance, and it gives you freedom, basically freedom of movement for 24 hours as well. Powerful, but honestly there are a couple of things that are wondrous items that are even more powerful than that, especially when you put them together, because it's the regalia of the Dread Emperor. And let me talk a little bit about that.
Now, the Dread Emperor set is a very interesting set because it's composed of magic items, armor, and even a minor artifact. Starting with the armor of the Dread Emperor is the one that lets you tie other people to your armor, and when you take damage, they all take half the damage you would have taken. Then you have the belt of the Dread Emperor, which is a wondrous item. So what you do is you have to have the armor equipped, you take life away from somebody that's tied to your armor, and you actually regain spells up to you killing them, so you just can keep doing it. Then last but not least, the Ring of the Dread Emperor, which is the one that if you kill at least a 10th level creature every day, you have no penalties with your armor, and you have a constant freedom of movement spell on you for 24 hours. So you see how dangerous the Dread Emperor can actually be as a villain.
After minor artifacts, of course, we go on to major artifacts, which my favorite major artifact of all time is actually in this book, the Angel Wing Racer. A longsword that is said to be honed on the wings of angels. That's how impossibly sharp its blade is. Now it's just a +5 purple longsword. However, its magical effect is where the artifact thing kicks in, because it can cut through anything at all. It bypasses damage reduction of all type, including epic. It bypasses all types of hardness, and it can even cut through things like walls of force. It just cuts through everything, and I don't know, it's just, the first time I read it, I fell in love with that blade, with the description of it. It's just, the Angel Wing Racer, it cuts through everything. Now after that, there's a couple of ones that I would like to tell you about.
Two of these minor artifacts are really fun ones because they're basically machines you can put anywhere in any game world at any time. First of all, we have the Cauldron of Zombie Spewing. Bodies go in, zombies come out. Easy and simple. Then you have the Demon Graft Machine. Body goes in, and they come out with new demonic body parts. Of course, for the Demon Graft Machine, you have to be alive, but for the Cauldron of Zombie Spewing, it doesn't matter. Another one is the Despoiler of Flesh, created by a king that wanted to have his way with his daughters, but to show you that he can't be that bad, instead of that, he created the Despoiler of Flesh to turn prisoners into his daughters so he could have his way with them. See how the Despoiler of Flesh works is you point it at someone and you turn them into whatever you want. You can add body parts, you can remove body parts, you can turn them into goop. Interesting artifact, horrible backstory, I know, what you gonna do? Next up is the Regalia of Evil, 3 separate artifacts that possess great power, and even greater power when you put them together. However, they each have a peculiar thing that happens to the character that wears them. For example, the Crown of Evil, the wearer can only speak lies while wearing the crown. And with the Scepter of Evil, slowly becomes more and more egotistical. And with the Orb of Evil, the owner slowly grows greedier over time. Which, if you're evil, you're probably already doing all of those things.
Next chapter is the Lords of Evil, which gives you a detailed description of a lot of demon lords and archdukes of hell, including its stat blocks and how they manage in combat and their different servants. And I like the fact that it gives you the servants, because if you don't want to make the players fight obviously the epic level creatures, you can have them fight their servants, which you can have them thwart the plans of the big evil without having them fight the big evil if you're not into that sort of thing. Now there's a particular one I want to talk to you about. It's Belial, Lord of the Fifth Circle of Hell. He rules alongside his daughter. Whatever they do, it's their business. I don't care. However, there's something I noticed a long time ago. And call me crazy, this might be me just putting things where they're not. But I swear that he has a face in his crotch. I'm serious. Now be warned, this next picture is going to be a little bit explicit, but I'm going to show you his crotch, and I'm going to zoom in on his crotch, so you can see that there is a face there. I'm not making this up. I cannot be making this up. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually has a face in his crotch. Like his pee-pee has eyes and a mouth. I wouldn't be surprised. He's a devil archduke. But take a look at this.
I mean, look at that thing. You can totally see the eyes, the forehead, the nose, and even the mouth. You cannot tell me that his Mr. PP does not have a face. It probably even has teeth and a tongue. That is just disturbing.
Now, on the flip side, for some reason, this picture reminds me of Batman for some reason. And what evil book is complete without a slew of monsters, regular monsters, to send down your player's path? And this one has a couple of demons and a couple of devils, but it also has a couple of undead creatures, and one of my favorite creatures, if not my favorite creature of all time, the Kythan.
And the Kythons, man, they are cute as heck. I remember I started using them during my first ever campaign and I just love them. They can evolve with time and eventually the bigger ones get additional weapons and armor that are exclusive to them. And even though the first one, the smallest one, is CR1. It has a nasty constitution poison. So CR1, you are not. And these things are dangerous and they can carry a game master through the whole game. Because imagine just making a campaign based around these
And
guys.
I mean, seriously, they're so cute. After that, the book closes, giving you advice on how to be evil, how to handle a single evil party member in a campaign. Honestly, don't do it. Don't have one single evil character in a group of others that aren't non-evil, especially in a group where there's a good aligned person. Now, I'm not a stickler for alignment. I don't believe in alignment, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people hold themselves tightly to alignment. It's like, oh, I'm just playing my alignment. Shut up. You know, that can be a discussion for another day, but shut up. Your character's much more than his alignment. Things are in black and white, and that's it. But honestly, my suggestion is don't have evil PCs. Don't, because honestly, from my experience that I've run, at least tried to run evil games, players don't know how to run evil. They don't know how to play evil. Either they're gonna try to be the evil maniacal mastermind but fail at it, they're gonna be the thugs of some other NPC, or they're just gonna try to rape and pillage everything. And honestly, if you want to do that, write a fanfic about it. I don't know, write something about it. I'd rather be using my time for other things than play pretend, raping and pillaging. I have better stuff to do with my time. Don't have evil PCs. It gives you pointers, you know, the whole even though they're evil, they can work together. Of course they can. You don't have to tie yourself down to, oh, I'm evil, I'm gonna mistrust my comrades, my allies anyways. That's honestly kind of silly. It has something else that I wanted to talk about. I just completely went over my mind. You can have evil PCs fighting other evil PCs, of course. You may have the players want to take over the world and these other evil PCs want to destroy it, so I guess that'd be interesting. They save the world just so they can conquer it. That could be fun. There's something else that tells you that maybe the players, if they're playing evil, at the end of the campaign, they'll enjoy getting killed by NPCs. Because even though they're evil, they'll enjoy getting what was coming to them. No. No player wants that. Not really. Who thinks players want? Honestly, I think that's interesting. And I would love to run a game like that where my players are evil, they're smart evil, they're cool evil, and at the end, they get stormed by paladins and get killed. I think that would be hilariously fun. I think that would be amazing. However, none of the players I have ever met would be in for that idea. There's a, oh no, it's my character, I want it to die. It's a story, it's a game, come on, play along. So, this has been the Book of Vile Darkness.
The art style in this book is great. The art is chilling and even unnerving at times, having always great art indicative of the 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, with the chapter beginning pieces being especially awesome and creepy, which I can't show, not all of them because some of them are very explicit, and I'm pretty sure I would have my video taken down because they do show naked people in those pictures, and it's creepy what they do, honestly, guys. It's really creepy.
Now, time for the recommendation. Can I recommend this book to other people? Definitely, if you're a game master. If you're a game master, I can totally recommend this book to you because it's a good read. It gives you ideas on how evil people think, different types of evil people. They're not all maniacal evil, maybe they're misunderstood evil, but evil nonetheless and need to be taken down. A lot of really good ideas for encounters, adventures, whole campaigns. You know, there's ideas here that you can base a whole campaign around. So I cannot not recommend this book to a game master. For a player, what are you doing with this? You're not gonna use it. No game master's gonna allow you to use anything here for your character. Trust me, things here are completely unbalanced. And they're completely broken. The lore is good because you can always use that in any other game. The mechanics, however, are horribly broken because at the end of the day, it is 3.5. Oh, sorry, no, it is 3rd edition D&D. And 3rd edition, it had a lot of problems. And this being 3rd edition, if you're gonna convert a prestige class or a magic item, a lot of conversion and a lot of thinking has to go through for it to be balanced. For example, in Pathfinder, a lot of the things here need to be fixed and twinned over to be able to port over to Pathfinder. But the lore, I recommend it to anybody. That's a game master. Again, I can't stress that enough. This is a book for game master. It even says so at the beginning. Look at this thing. It's one of the funny things. I love when books do that. Hide this book. Book about Darkness is for dungeon masters only. Just as you would keep the contents of a published adventure to yourself, restrict your players' access to this book as well. Don't let them know what's in store for their characters. I like it when books do that. It might be kind of silly, but I like it when they do that because this is not a book for players. Things that are here should not fall into the hands of players. Heaven Run Unlimited, I'll talk about that someday in the future because I did use a couple of things here for a character I was using. And looking back, the game master gave me permission, but then I was looking back, I was like, that was stupid. It was horribly broken. It was stupid. It was idiotic. But hey, at least I can tell that I had a character that had content from the book about darkness. Alright, Orcus, I'm done reviewing this book. You can take it back.
You can keep it.
Really? I can? Alright, thanks, I guess. A try? I mean, there's this spell that I like the sound of it. Heart Clutch. Now, where is it? There we go. Caster holds forth his empty hand and does the components. Don't you worry, I'm back to finish that Book of Vile Darkness review. But why?